people ask all the time, why do you engage so closely with Republicans, with conservatives, with Trumpists, all of that? First of all, you know what? I have relatives, believe it or not, that are Trumpists. I have good friends that are Trumpists. I have all these associations, and I'm pretty sure you do too. And, you know, we're all in the same darn country, and you have to actually try to figure out what the pathology is that cause folks to be that way, or cause folks to believe that somehow it is okay to accept Trump because there is a slice of what he supports that you do, that you think you do, and it is okay then to forget all the other things. Now, it's not only Republicans and conservatives that forgive Trump for some of the things that he said. It is some of the folks on the left who were so adamant to elect a Hillary Clinton that they were willing to say things like, well, at least Trump XYZ, even if the sexist, all that is true, but we can actually take it. Now, I'm going to tell you something first of all, and I say this with love, okay? I want to be careful with the way I say this because some people would get upset, but I think you're going to get where I'm coming from. The same pathology that exists on the right with people thinking they can forgive a Trump for certain things, why they voted for him. I don't see the huge difference between that pathology on those on the left who such had a hatred for Hillary Clinton that they stayed away from voting, or that they supported Donald Trump. And I say that with a lot of respect because you guys know I'm a left-winger. You guys know you know my policies that I support. In the process after leaving when Bernie Sanders was no longer a possibility, there's nothing today that is happening right now with Donald Trump that I neither didn't foresee nor that I didn't write about at Daily Kos, at egbertowillies.com, at Op-Ed News. Because if one decided to have clear thinking and one understands the Constitution of the United States and one understands that it is the executive who is going to mold the Supreme Court, and if one understands that yes, if Hillary was elected, we would likely get a Supreme Court justice with the potential of being a neoliberal supporting the corporatocracy, but with a heart, one could make that analysis that it is better that way. As a man, one of the things I knew, I listened to what Trump had to say. When Trump said he was going to appoint judges that were going to outlaw women's choices, I took him seriously. I knew that was a possibility. I knew that could happen. When Trump said that he would make sure that he elected ultra-conservative judges, I took that seriously. Right now, we are in some hot water. And let me explain to you constitutionally what the issue is. We're in a pickle. And what I mean that we're in a pickle is this. Again, the executive chooses a Supreme Court justice. And there's absolutely nothing that we can do if McConnell wants to appoint that woman-hurting Supreme Court justice. There's nothing we can do at all. So that is over with. The cards that we played are fixed. We have caused us to lose the Supreme Court for a generation. That is what voting for Donald Trump has done. Women are currently in danger. Yes. Women are currently in danger. But there isn't a loss of hope. The first thing that we have to realize, and I wrote a blog I think it was a few days ago, that said that we have just left the Supreme Court in the hands of 5 men. And the reason I said that was because no progressive laws will ultimately, it'll get passed, even if we go with a full Democratic president and a full Democratic Congress, even if it's veto proof or whatever, if we get all of that, there's absolutely nothing in the short term, or rather, in the long term, we can do for progressive policies. What I mean by that is this. Let's say we got all the progressive elected in the House, we got all progressives elected into the Senate, and we got a very progressive president. And suddenly, we came up for Medicare for all in this country. It's passed. It's placed into existence. Now what do we have? We have a Donald Trump over the last 2 years filling up the Supreme Court, filling up the appellate courts, filling up all the district courts with right-wing ideologues that most of them are not even very smart. What that means is any progressive law that comes out can be stopped almost immediately with something called an injunction, both on the lower level and all the way up. So in the short term, to put it bluntly, progressive policies, when that other Supreme Court justice gets elected, we're screwed. But here is what we fight for. We fight to start electing a Congress that is veto-proof, 3/4 or 3/5, I don't remember the number, you guys can correct me, a Senate, and we get a progressive president. At that point, when we pass progressive policies, and this doesn't take the generations that we're talking about, when we pass progressive policies and it's approved and the injunction comes, we start using the power of the people. And how does the Constitution, even though I am not a fan of it, it was pretty darn good design when it comes to certain types of structures. And what it means then is we can start the impeachment of judges when suddenly the judges become autonomous. So the battle is never over from the people, is what I'm trying to tell you. A lot of folks I've heard, a lot of people have sent me personal emails saying, you know, at this point it's over. And the reason it's over is because now he got the last judge. And there's nothing that can go through because everything will be deemed unconstitutional. You want to say something real quick?
Yeah, real quick. With that idea, right?
Yes.
Then it will swing the other way. I think what ends up happening and why people feel so, on a progressive side so bad now is because now we feel like we aren't represented, we aren't heard.
Right.
And that was the exact feeling of your Trump voters, is they weren't getting heard. Nobody was doing anything for them. So with the full progressive, yes, but people still be left out and we'll have this all over again.
And that is no. The answer to that is no. My thing is this. My thing is, and I think I said that on the show yesterday, I blame Democrats for, when they talk about flyover country, there's some truth to that. The fact that Hillary didn't go back to Michigan, the truth that Hillary didn't go back to Iowa and these places, it talks about a certain amount of conceitedness. It talks about that. My thing is this. You remember back when Jesse Jackson went for president, what was one of the first places that he went to? You don't know. I tell you why I bring up Jesse Jackson. No, go ahead. I want to hear what you just said.
Oh, no, you don't. I remember what made him have to leave.
Okay, well, let me tell you this, because I'm not talking about love for a politician or anything like this. I'm talking about just facts here. Mm-hmm. And here's what I want to say. What Jesse Jackson did as a theme was to go into Appalachia. Jesse Jackson decided that, you know what, there's a whole lot that all of us have in common. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to blanket the nation. I'm going to go to Appalachia. I'm going to go to all these places. What I'm saying is this. When we are passing these policies, right, we're not doing it in some vacuum. We are going to go out there to Appalachia and we're going to say, when this policy is going to do X, Y, Z for you, we're not going to expect it to sell on its own. We're going to go to Utah. We're going to go to West Virginia. We're going to go to Montana. We're going to go to North Dakota. We're going to say, you see this company that you have, this little shop, this rose shop that you have here, we're going to talk to people, something that we don't do anymore. The reason we don't do that is because of the rails that I spoke to you about in the other room, because there's not much difference between the two establishments. So they don't want people knowing that we are all in the same boat. They don't want you to know that that person in Appalachia that's living in that trailer is no different than that person living in give me the worst part of Houston. They don't understand that we have those things in common.